Today I fucked up by teaching middle schoolers the art of the cycle, so now they know how to fart on command. So this happened 5 days ago when I told the kids the origin of the cycle and how to pull this off. I was with my wife at another couple's house having dinner. Their 12-year-old was there with his friend. Somehow the conversation came up about farting and I asked if I had ever told them how I ruined my birthday party and almost my school life due to farting as a kid. They had not, so I assured them I would tell them the tale without letting them know how I did it. As I tell you the tale below, I won't leave out the details of how I did it like I did for them. Their eyes and ears were on me as I told them of the 5th grade 25 years ago. I remember noticing that I was farting a lot. Not like just gassy, but powerful, chair vibrating farts. I was always inquisitive, so I wanted to find out what caused this. I remembered in the morning swallowing a ton of air to create a monster burp, but it never came back up. Not later or anytime. I guess it must have came out the other end. To test this I swallowed tons of air the following day, and every time it tried to come up I forced it to stay. Eventually I could feel it moving south through my body. About 20 minutes later it worked. I was blasting them, but I still had some perfecting to do. At any rate, I was farting so much that week that I was in trouble for disrupting class and they called my parents. I got my birthday party taken away. I was devastated, but they said if I behaved I could have it back on the following Friday. I just didn't feel like I was fitting in anymore without farting, so I decided to start the cycle up. After the first fart or two I was sent to the hall. I found myself sitting on the tile floor and had an idea for great fart reverb. The system I had perfected went as follows. To start the cycle, swallow as much as air as you can, hold it, and no matter what keep it in. If some slips out your mouth, replace it. After your first fart, take 3 small gulps of air. Continue after every fart until you want to be done. Cool down period will take about 20 to 30 minutes to stop farting. So anyway, I sat in that hallway the Friday of my party, and every time I wanted or needed to fart I held it in and swallowed more air until finally I was about to explode. Let out an unhuman machine gun fart that ripped the halls and made my teacher and another teacher from a different classroom come out. That was it for me. Parents called. Birthday lost. One final chance for next week. I was doing great. I had stopped farting until one day my friend Sean, who I had taught the secret, challenged me and I couldn't back down. I even decided to bend over and blast one at one of the cafeteria workers. This was it. I lost the birthday forever. I was ready to run away, but my friends talked me out of it. I was done for. Got an in-school suspension for a day and stayed in the principal's office. I had to write an essay on why farting like that was bad. I wish I still had it. Through all of this my parents never knew there was a cycle. Whenever my brother and I wanted to do it, since I had taught him, we would use code. Hey brother, someday I hope to own a motorcycle. We would emphasize the cycle part. Well, this just got us buried into even more trouble. I had even gotten so in tune with my body I could pick the style of fart, machine gun, squeakers, splat whoppers. I could choose any fart. I eventually had to bury the cycle for good. I only brought it out once in high school youth group to prove the story was true to them. Anyway, I suppose that was it. Today I fucked up as well as a child, but let's now end the story at the dinner table. These kids are begging me to tell them how to do this. I say I never will, but the mom tells me to go ahead. I don't even know the other kid or his parents. I tell them and begin to coach them. My friend's child actually pulls it off and is farting so loud all night. The other kid can't get it. Well, yesterday I guess he goes to my church. I passed by him and he goes, "Hey, I mastered it." I am just waiting for his parents to get a hold of me somehow when all of this comes out, or even worse, it spreads to their entire school because the friend's kid said he already taught every one of his friends. Too long didn't read, mastered how to fart on command with max reverb and volume as a kid, told the story 25 years later to some middle schoolers and they ended up mastering it themselves, which has me terrified of parents in this town. Great, you've taught all of Reddit and now we're farting. This is my legacy. Waiting for a gastroenterologist to chime in to tell us we're all going to die. Gastroenterolo thingy here. We're all going to die. Okay, I'm going to go try this cycle thing. Can confirm, it works. I don't get how the teachers and parents treated the farting like a criminal act. Farting on purpose is inconceivable. They should have been concerned, not enraged. Today I fucked up by not finding the body, NSFW. Long, I'm sorry. Too long didn't read, at the end. Backstory, I work in apartment maintenance, I also live on site. Today I had a fairly busy afternoon, so I took a short lunch and finished everything that had come in by about 4, and to my luck I got the rest of the day off. I didn't take a break and drank a bunch of water, will be relevant later. Let's get into this. So I get off work, and walk over to my house. I was pretty hungry, so I just rushed in, threw leftovers in the microwave and walked back into my living room. Kitchen and dining room are joined, living room is adjacent with a raised roof, and realized something. This is no longer my living room. This 2 to 3 inch fucking behemoth of a cockroach on the wall has overtaken what I previously had to call my own. Wings like a plane. Orange as a clapped out Civic with underglow. And of course, way out of my reach. Since I didn't have a flathead shovel or a blowgun, and the shotgun seemed a little dramatic, I chose a mighty broom as my weapon. Re-enter the battlefield, wielding my weapon as the powerful witch, Warlock? It's Reddit, I'm sure one y'all is letting everybody know in the comments, I am trying to become. My weapon, however, was too short. I was not out of moves yet though, I can jump about as gracefully as a 3-legged dog trying to jump out of a pool, but I possess the ability. Aha! I hit it. I watched slow motion as King Kong fell from his Empire State Building, and landing just around the corner of the dresser/table in my living room. Round the corner, still armed. Nothing. Not here, says Cockroach. I look around for a little while longer, nothing. So in the background of all this, everything I drank throughout the day was making its presence known in my bladder. Since I couldn't find the intruder, and the bathroom is right there, I decided after I had defeated the beast I deserved a victory piss. And a victory piss I had, well, at least until I heard a little click and saw something out of the corner of my eye. The cockroach. The cockroach and the cockholder made eye contact. Now, cock out, unarmed. I have to find a way to smash the fuck out of this little peeping Tom home invading motherfucker. Obviously, I was unarmed. And then I realized, my head is the answer, not that head. I was wearing a hat. So I take my hat off and swing, with my dick mirroring the motion of my arms, and nailed that some bitch. Followed by a stomp of the boot, or 12, victory. I had achieved victory. Too long didn't read, hit a big ass roach off my wall, couldn't find the body, and then had to duel it whilst swanging sausage. That's no today I fucked up, that right there is a story of a victorious warrior deserving Valhalla. You're not a witch or warlock, with a recounting like that you're definitely a bard. I guess you showed him who the real cockroach was. Damn right. Cockroach was 2 to 3 inches big. That thing would have not felt anything if I used my head. Yeah, I'm spraying my house tomorrow. Fuck whatever that thing was. So what was the fuck up really? Nothing. This is just a writing exercise that had a required amount of hyperbole and adjectives. 4th grade teachers would give this an A+. Today I fucked up by saying the dumbest thing I've ever said to one of my students. Background, I'm a high school physics and engineering teacher. This happened 8 hours ago. Today, with my computer tucked under my arm, I'm asked by a student to sign off a project he was working on, which, formally, requires my signature to make it official. I grabbed my pen and realized that I couldn't sign without dropping my computer. So, I said, "Hey, can you hold down that paper? I don't have a hand." It was at the point that my stomach dropped off a cliff, because the student I asked to help me literally doesn't have a hand. Literally has a nub on the end of his left arm. No palm, no fingers, no hand. And what do I say? I say, in essence, "Hey, no hand person." When I say I don't have a hand, really I do, but I'm just holding something with it which you can never do but I can do, and I'm saying I don't have one. But I do, and you don't. The dude even uses his non-hand arm to pin down the paper while I sign, as if to say this is what not having a hand is. Dumbass. Long, awkward pause. Lemma. Do I acknowledge my dumbassery? Or do I walk away and then move to Canada immediately? I decide to go for it and call myself out for being stupid. Thankfully, he's understanding. He makes a few jokes and tells me it happens all the time and brushes it off with complete grace. Turns out he's the coolest dude ever, and I, if I haven't mentioned it before, am an enormous dumbass. Too long didn't read. Asked a kid without a hand to help me because I don't have a hand because I was carrying something. And because I'm a dumbass. I've never understood why people who say things like the op did are so worried about it. These are all just sayings, and people with whatever disability know they're sayings, so unless they're morons, they aren't going to care. I never think twice about using verbs like run or walk even though I haven't done either in decades. I get the idea across. How unnatural it would be to switch to limp or roll, and it would only highlight my issue. I did the announcements in high school and we got told we weren't allowed to say please stand for the national anthem because it offended a kid in a wheelchair. So we switched to please stand if you're able, and he was more offended because he thought it was singling him out. I used to work in a corner shop, and able-bodied, lazy people would frequently just come up to the register and say I'll have a, insert chocolate bar. I would then have to tell them that it was on the shelf next to them, and in some cases walk around the register and get it for them because they couldn't be bothered. This one guy came up to the register and asked for 2 chocolates, and I, being at the end of a long shift, said, well, if you would just look to your right, both the chocolates you are looking for are underscore right there underscore. He cracked up and said, well, that's the problem. I can't see. He then told me that he really appreciated people saying stuff like that to him, because it meant they either didn't notice or they forgot about his disability. It was a kind of able-body passing that he was actually really fond of. But he made sure to remind me and crack jokes about it every time he came back and I was at the register. Look, this was awkward as hell, but good thing that everyone involved has common sense. Acknowledging the mess up was the right thing to do and the dude was super cool about it. Yeah, writing it down made it feel more that way. But I was thinking about it all evening and it kept feeling worse and worse. Thanks. There needs to be a sub for today, I said / did something that I thought was cringy. Seriously, don't worry about it. I have one eye and work as a teacher. I have lost count of the number of times that people have asked me to keep an eye on their class, asked me to look at a piece of work because they could do with a fresh pair of eyes looking at it, or keep an eye out for something. Know that people who say these aren't being thoughtless or rude, they're using idiomatic phrases which are a normal part of English. I usually grin and say something like I'll get my super glue then. There are some things that I just can't do, or would you like it on the end of a stick? The reaction I dislike the most is when someone is over the top apologetic, closely followed by the opposite, totally uncaring or rude. I do appreciate it when people say sorry, but it's not essential. Oops and a grin is normally enough.